Welcome to my laboratory. Today we are going to be doing the Alexander technique. If you are unfamiliar with the Alexander technique, then you have come to the right place, because I'm going to be teaching you how exactly it is that you should be properly standing, sitting, and adjusting yourself throughout life. So, allow me to just first warm my hands, because I will be touching your head. We will be working on this lesson only on the cranium first, just the skull, the way it aligns with your neck, the vertebrae in your neck, making sure that it is perfectly in line with your skeletal system. And before we proceed, I will be asking for your consent to make my adjustments. Thank you for your vote of confidence. So, I can tell that your head is a little twisted, so I'm going to just firstly adjust it very, very delicately. There we go. Could you hear the cracks in your necks, as if there's little twigs sort of like popping out? That is an indication to me that there is some nitrogen bubbles that have built up from improper positioning of your posture. Don't fear though, those sounds might continue on for a little while, but disregard them as just little nitrogen bubbles popping away. They're not your bones clacking, and we will proceed. So, first, before I make any adjustment, I will be demonstrating it on my own head. That way you get an idea of what I'm doing. So, your head is a little forward, it's a little towards me. It should be in line from head to toe, as if there's one straight line that connects from the top of your head to the bottom of the sole of your foot. So, I'm just going to be plugging this imaginary line where your head should align with, and I'm just going to sink it right back into where it should be, like this. I'm just going to sink it back to where it should be and align it with your system. That way you're all in one direct line. So, I'm going to be aligning it, so a little bit going backwards. If I'm going at all quick for you or not quick enough, then tell me. Okay. How does that feel? Okay, let me just adjust it a little more. I'm going to release my hands now. Try to see if you can keep that proper positioning in line. Now, I also noticed that your jaw is tilting a little too forward like this. In reality, your jaw is to be at a perpendicular angle with your neck. It shouldn't be too high up, otherwise there is stress and tension in the back of your head where the bottom meets the neck. But it shouldn't also be too far this way, otherwise there's tension once again on your neck where the vertebrae has to stretch out more instead of being the opposite problem, which is compacting. So, this following procedure, I will be just aligning your head so that way it falls perpendicular to your neck. As such, just slight adjustments. So just slide, 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 slide adjustments. Okay, how does that feel? Not going too quickly or too slowly? Great. So I'm just going to be making some slight adjustments. Just a little bit. And slight adjustments. there. I'm just going to maneuver your head back so that way it isn't getting forward once again. Throughout these adjustments, the trick of it is making sure that you can balance all of these adjustments at once instead of just focusing one at a time and failing at the others. Okay, there we go. So, now we must make sure that your ears fall parallel to your shoulders, where there isn't a sense of tilting which there was in the beginning. Let me just see. Let me just align a little bit here. Perfect. Okay. So, as it follows, I will be now making some adjustments to your head as we further converse. Do you consent to that? Excellent. And I will be further explaining the importance of keeping up with a proper positioning, a proper posture. So, the reason why we have a need for proper posture is because over time, these vertebrae inside our necks might suffer damage. At a certain point, this damage could be irreversible. And once we get to that point, there is very little we can do here. So to preemptively avoid such damage, we do our best to adjust and allow our patients to self-adjust and recognize the lessons that they've picked up from this experience. Yes, this experience is something that we do expect you to carry on with, carry out with, and move on with. It is important that you do so, because any misalignment could lead to your neck suffering from tension, lack of tension, muscle weakness, which will then lead to sharp headaches, electric shocks, tension headaches, tension headaches, tension headaches, blurring of vision, heightened health risks, anxiety, and brain fog. So it is best to just follow the course that we've laid out for you. If you don't, you risk many illnesses. And you don't want many illnesses. Let me make my final adjustment here. And let me remind you of the exact alignment that you need to keep in mind going forward. Make sure your head isn't jutting out too far, but rather that it is perpendicular with your shoulders, that there is a cross here. Make sure that your ears aren't tilted one way or another, but that they are parallel with your shoulders. And make sure that your chin isn't too high up or too low down, but rather that it is perpendicular to your neck. If you keep these instructions and tips in mind, you will avoid many, many illnesses.